Good morning again, guys. All right, this one's interesting, and this is all community based, if you will. But one thing that y'all talk about, I talk about, we all can talk about the problems that are going on. I want to talk about some solutions too. And this one ain't me, okay? But I'll give you this. A lot of times y'all have told me, I've talked about chemtrails in the air and what are they spraying on us and aluminum and all this sort of stuff. And it's destroying the soil and all this, right? We know this. I don't have to rehash any of this. Y'all also know about, Bill Gates's big deal that he's been pushing for the last decade or whatever, blocking out the sun, right? Yeah. I mean, as silly as it is, that's what he's been talking about. Well, this is going to worry you like it worries me. The White House Office of Science and Technology has announced that they are going to coordinate a 5-year research study to study ways of modifying the amount of sunlight that reaches the Earth in order to temporarily temper the effects of global warming. Now, there's a few ways that they're planning on doing this. Stratospheric aerosol injection. That's the chemtrails, guys, okay? Marine cloud brightening and cirrus cloud thinning. Okay, now, the marine cloud brightening, it's over the oceans, whatever it is, it's very ineffective. That one probably won't be. The cirrus cloud thinning, that might have a little bit of problem with how we get rain. That's a problem, okay? But the one that's most concerning to me is this stratospheric aerosol injection. And basically, to give you an idea what that is, that their plan, what they want to study, is to put sulfur dioxide in a plane, fly it between 10 and 30 miles above the Earth, which is the stratosphere, and release all this sulfur dioxide into the air in order to attempt to reflect some of the sunlight back into space for all intents and purposes. Okay. Now, here's the problem with spraying sulfur dioxide. Yeah, as they say, it's very calm up in the stratosphere, not a whole lot happens, but the sulfur dioxide will float around there for up to about 2 years until it starts to fall. And when it falls in the form of acid rain, sulfuric acid rain. This is their idea of controlling climate change. In other words, another way to make money, all right? Gee, we're going to spend five years researching this, which of course they'll have to get paid for. And then if we do this, that'll of course have to get paid for. And gee, I wonder who will get all the contracts for that. This is something, obviously, the only thing I can hope is that we change the party in power and they kill the funding for this. Okay, that's my greatest hope. But again, this is something that is pretty much beyond our control. If they do it, we can't stop it. And all we have to do is deal with it. Now, personally, I don't feel like walking outside and getting sulfuric acid all over me if I'm out in a rainstorm, Sorry, an umbrella is not going to stop it either, okay? And I know you'll hear the, oh, but it's not that toxic or whatever it is. It's not that damaging. I don't care if it's 0.00001% damaging. I don't want that stuff on me. I don't want that stuff on my land. I don't want that stuff in my food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. The biggest issue that we get with this is growing food. Now you think about this. If they do this, this is a worldwide thing. I mean, again, just because they put it over Kansas doesn't mean the earth revolves, remember? Yeah, we're not a flat earth, guys. I hate to tell you that. Okay. It will spread across the world. It will block out some of the sunlight to the earth. What do we need to grow food? Sunlight. What is going to be very detrimental to your gardens? I'd say sulfuric acid might be detrimental to your gardens. Okay. So then this comes into the question of how can we adapt to their idiocy, which seems to be the mantra of a prepper. Prep for the worst, pray for the best. Well, okay, no matter what happens in Washington, prep for what happens in Washington and pray for the best. That's the deal. So now you need to figure out a way to protect your plot of land, your garden, your pots, whatever would be where you're trying to grow food from a lack of sunlight and from getting hit with sulfuric acid. Okay, got an issue there. So now this brings into the talk about greenhouses. Now, a lot of you guys, I know most of us watch a lot of the same channels. Okay, sometimes you guys will recommend a channel I've never heard of, and sometimes I talk about one that maybe you haven't. But I'm going to take a guess that a lot of you guys know Danny and Wanda over at Deep South Homestead. Okay. Danny and Wanda are huge proponents of growing in greenhouses. Down in Mississippi, it gets hot, and if you've seen any of their videos, it looks like they live in the Dust Bowl of the 1930s Oklahoma. They haven't got any rain in God knows how long. But so they are big proponents of growing in high tunnels, which basically are the same as greenhouses, except they have higher walls. Okay, so that's all it is. They put out a video this morning that I implore all of you to watch. Okay, they are giving away with their work with a company by the name of Growers Solutions. They are giving away a 16 by 24 Quonset hut type greenhouse. Come, I think it was November 7th when I watched the video. Okay. They are also on freesteading. I've told you guys many times about freesteading.com. The link to my page in the freesteading.com community is below the video there in the description. But having a way to grow in a protected area very possibly could be something that we need to have in the future. You guys have asked me about putting up greenhouses, okay? It's something that I am trying to figure out, and my solution, I think, as I am coming up with, is I will wind up building something along the lines of like these Quonset hut greenhouses to go over my existing gardens should the need arise. Okay, and this particular type product would probably be something that I'm going to seriously consider looking at because they're not overly expensive for what we're talking about. I looked them up after I watched the video, and a 16 by 24 Quonset hut, which ironically is the same size as 3 of my 4 gardens, is $1,500. Okay, not terrible. If need comes to it, then I have a way to protect my gardens from acid rain. And at that point, you can put UV solar lights in your greenhouse or whatever if they block out the sun, okay, depending on how effective that's going to be. I mean, again, this is a study. But one of the things we have to do as preppers is pay attention to what is going on, figure out the worst case scenario, because God knows the government can't come up with something that's ever beneficial. This goes right back into the me versus us thing this morning. We have to figure out how to take care of us to combat their idiocy with the me thinking. Okay, what I talked about this morning. I'll link below Danny and Wanda's video this morning so you guys can take a look at it. But yeah, good old Uncle Joe is trying to figure out now, actually put the wheels in motion to block out the sun. And who cares about the side effect of acid rain? Okay. Just thought you guys might want to know that, but something to start looking at. How can I take care of myself, feed myself, when this idiocity and the farce that is Greta Thunberg and Al Gore's biggest deal comes to play? Eating, guys, the basic necessity of life. And they're trying to kill it. We're preppers. We try to come up with solutions. This is one to seriously at least put in the back of your head going, what if? What are my plans if? Because after all, that is this lifestyle in a nutshell. Pinball out.